and welcome to How to Deal When the Shit Gets Real podcast. I'm Marietta.
And I'm Connie, and we are two Christmassy cousins, because it's that time of year, folks.
Jingle bells, jingle bells.
No one wants to hear you sing.
If I actually sang, they might, but not that terrible singing.
I know, I'm just teasing you.
I know you are. So we're going to talk about, obviously, Christmas, gifting, all that
Christmas
fun
traditions
stuff.
that we have, which are a lot of good ones.
Your best white elephant gift, all the good things.
So, do you want to start off with traditions and then go to gifts?
Yeah, we might as well, because we kind of touched on traditions a little bit last podcast. So let's just carry it on.
I don't know if you remember this, but I remember the day after Thanksgiving, we would go, me, my family, my uncle, any aunts that were in town, we'd get like 4 Christmas trees, 3 or 4, it depended on the year. And we would go to like each person's house and decorate. At least at minimum, it would be like grandma's house and then our house. And we would always have like dinner at each place, like a different night, whatever. And that I remember always being like, I always remember having fond memories of that, because at minimum, people that were there were anybody that was in town was always at grandma's house the day after Thanksgiving while we set up the tree and decorated. Mm-hmm. So you got to see your cousins or whomever longer and goof off, which was always a plus. And I always remember getting Brown's chicken, and I'm always a fan of Brown's chicken.
That's one that I wasn't really a part of. My mom, I don't think, well, she claims she wasn't invited or wasn't really like included. I don't know how true that is, obviously. And, we're a little farther away than everybody else. Like, we weren't far, but, we were compared to where everybody else was, we were farther away. So that's not one I know you guys did it, but it wasn't one that we really participated in. Obviously, I participated in making the cookies like we talked about a couple weeks ago. We all go over to grandma's and bake cookies. But I do remember, which I'm pretty sure we did on Christmas Day, going to see movies.
Yes, Christmas Day, like at night.
Yeah. We used to all go after dinner, after whatever, and it was like all of us, all the cousins, a couple of the aunts and uncles if they wanted to, and there would be like 12 of us, and we'd go see whatever movie was.
The only problem I remember having was a couple of times they picked like rated R movies or something my mom didn't want us to see, so we weren't allowed to go.
Yeah,
I remember that happening like a couple of times, and I was so pissed. Yeah, because like I always wanted to. As a younger cousin, you always wanted to hang out with the older, cooler cousins.
Yeah, that never happened to me because I'm kind of like in the middle, so I'm kind of on the older side. But I do remember that happening. But I don't think it was intentional. At least I don't think it was. It's just, there's limited movies showing on Christmas Day.
Well, and I think limited like seatings.
Yeah, also that too.
Only so many people.
So we just made do. And of course, we had to come to as close to an agreement as we could on what everybody wanted to see. So I definitely remember doing that.
I for sure remember being like one year being really pissed that like Rachel's parents didn't care. And mom's like, no, you're not going to go see that. That's too late. You can't do that. You're going to be at your dad's tomorrow or like tonight or whatever. I was like, it's not fair. As I always was. I was like, but that's not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah, Rachel's going. I should be able to go.
Well, and it wasn't really necessarily like that it was a movie like I couldn't see. It was the fact that like I was getting picked up in the morning by my dad for his Christmas.
Yeah.
So it was like, no, you can't go see a midnight showing when your dad is going to be coming and picking you up at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work like that. Sorry, try again.
Yeah, but that was fun when we were able to do that.
Yes,
because like you said, it was extra time that we got to spend together. Granted, we were in the movie not really supposed to be talking, but we were usually talking or throwing popcorn at each other or whatever. Because not a lot of people see movies on Christmas. So we kind of a lot of times, it was like hit or miss. Either we had like the entire theaters to ourselves or there was like a couple stragglers and like it was packed. It depended on what movie it was also.
That's for sure. Well, and I think it just made sense to go to a movie because we were at grandma's at the time all day. You know, you weren't leaving to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of giving like grandma and grandpa and the adults a break, even though not everybody was a kid, but it was still kind of giving everybody like a break, less people in the house. Okay, we can clean up a little bit more.
Yeah. And usually Uncle Bill was the adult that came along because he was in town
Yes.
and he didn't see us as much as everybody else. So he was usually the
Yeah.
adult that was like, I'll go.
And then as it got older, it was like James and Billy. They were the
Yeah.
ones that were
Yeah.
like
And
the
Adam.
quote unquote adult. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus,
But I mean, we were there all day anyhow.
Plus, they figured like how much trouble can we actually get into at a movie theater?
And the movie theater wasn't very far away.
No, super close. It's even closer to her house now.
And you can't really like how much stuff can you do at their house? Like it's like I feel like sometimes it's like, okay, we got bored. We've been visiting for hours at this point. Let's go to a movie and do something else.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
For sure.
Let's see, what else did we have?
Obviously the cookies. We have to talk about doing all the I still do them. We're going to be doing them on the 19th this year.
This might be the only year that I don't, maybe, because we're going to be ramming, which is restrictive movement. It's essentially kind of quarantining with a little bit of looser rules. And it's not that I don't want to make them. I just, I'm not supposed to give out anything that I make while we're ramming, and I'm not going to eat that many cookies. So we'll see. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so maybe just like a batch of chocolate chips or one batch of sugar cookies. But yeah, I would definitely say I wouldn't do all 6 of the different types of cookies that we normally do.
There's at least that many. So speaking of, since we have that many, what's your favorite one?
Fannie Mae mint meltaways.
Oh, the cake ones
yes. Yeah. Absolutely my favorite.
Oh my gosh. Poor grandma. You can tell that she's getting older. My mom and I went over there I guess it had to be 2 years ago now. And grandma was in the process of making those. And I've made those many times by myself, so I know how to make them. And she pulled the cake out of the oven, and then she went to put on the next layer. And I was like, no, grandma, it needs to go in the fridge. You have to wait. It needs to be totally cool. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, I don't want to wait. I'm like, this is why they were messed up the year before. Give me the pan.
Yep. And I think this last year, poor grandma again,
she did do something else again. My mom told me she did. She messed
the
up.
Cake wasn't set. She didn't bake it long enough. It was like goo in the middle. My mom had to remake them, as far as I remember. Pretty sure that was the issue.
It's not.
I do remember making it myself, and it's pretty easy. But there's so
that's what I was just gonna say. It's not really a complicated recipe. It's just a time-consuming recipe because in between each layer, you have to refrigerate them for at least a couple hours.
When I did it, I didn't have to refrigerate between the frosting and the ganache. You don't have to refrigerate for that.
I did. You're supposed to. According to the recipe, you're supposed to.
Maybe I had a different recipe. I don't remember.
I have the original.
Honestly, though, it was from 2016, 2017 is the last time I did it. So it's been a while.
Yeah, I was even making them in college because I made them once because I had missed them, being away. And my roommates were like, oh my God, you need to make these every year. So then I kind of started making them. It was the one I made in college. So I guess I've made them enough.
Yeah, really. Yeah, actually, just Christmas cookies in general. So this annoys me. The past 2 years, I've made the Christmas cookies. I frosted the Christmas cookies, and I maybe get a small, tiny tin because all the aunts and uncles have to get a tin first. Please.
I know.
Me and Mom were the only ones that were there. Sorry. Except for Aunt Lydia and maybe Aunt Judy might have stopped by last year. I don't remember.
My mom went. I know my mom went. She told me she did.
Oh, no, it was just that me and my mom were doing most of the legwork while everybody else just sat around and frosted occasionally, but we were making each 6 batches of the cookies. And I was like, you're joking me. So Uncle Pete gets a huge container. He's not here.
Yeah. Well, that's how it's been for years. So it doesn't change.
Yeah. So I'm like, this year, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to go out because, I don't have any of these regular recipe ingredients because I'm keto. I only have like almond flour, coconut flour. I'm like, maybe I'm just going to go out and get regular of everything so that I can make my own and because what I wanted to do was basically the same thing we do for all the aunts and uncles, give everybody a tin, but like to my in-laws, like, oh, here's a tin of cookies for you, you, and you,
Yeah, yeah.
and then keep some for myself.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do because that sugar cookie recipe, even
Is
though it's not that like big, it makes a lot of sugar cookies, and for like just me and it's too many. So I was gonna give some to like the gate guards or like somebody, but I technically shouldn't be doing that. So I either have to make them really late because we get off of ROM actually on Christmas Eve, so I'd have to make them like on Christmas Eve, or I just don't make them. So I don't know.
Hey, it would be a new tradition to make them on Christmas Eve and
That's
have
true.
your son help you frost.
Yeah, the problem is he only lasts with frosting for like
A
5
minute.
cookies and then he's done. And then I have to frost them all
Unlike
by
us, we were
myself.
totally into it. We were all into it as kids.
Actually,
We were
did you
like,
see
sit me down.
yeah, I know. We were into it, and did you see that great grandma just had Tinsley and Tegan over, and apparently they lasted quite a long time too. She was impressed at how long that they lasted at making cookies with her.
Oh, really? Wow.
Mhm. Yeah, I had
Chef.
talked to her like the week before, and she's like, I said yes, but I don't know. They're so young. They're probably going to do like 3 cookies, and then I have to do the rest, and I'm too old for this.
That's so cute.
I know.
But those aren't for Christmas because that's too soon. That just must have been for them to like go home with.
Probably. I think it was just like
Because,
a memory thing, like let the girls
yeah,
do it with great
that's
grandma.
cute.
But they made the sugar cookies. They cut them and frosted them and did all that.
Aw, that's adorable.
And my favorite to make, since I asked Connie, is the molasses or the brown cookies, mainly because that's my great grandma Hattie's recipe. And like I talked about before, it took me so long to perfect them. And my dad finally were like, these might even be better than Hattie's, that like
That's why
it's
they're your favorite
it's
because
a
then you get the
win.
compliments. Yeah.
They get the compliments. My dad loves them, and they're so freaking good.
Yeah. The other recipe I really like making, and maybe it's because I do it with my dad, is just him and I make like 3 or 4 pans because the recipe is weird. One recipe makes two like small, like 9 by 9 pans, like the
Mm-hmm.
small little square ones. And it's my grandma Wink's like peanut butter fudge bars.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And then Aunt Debbie makes them, and I'm like, wrong. Like I had one, I was like, this is not the right recipe. Only because it tastes like a peanut butter cup, like straight out. Like it just tastes
Mhm.
like a layer of peanut butter with probably powdered sugar in it at the bottom, like a thick layer, and then a thick layer of chocolate. And it's supposed to be kind of like the chocolates. It's supposed to be a like peanut butter cookie base with fudge and then peanut butter crumble on top. So like
Oh,
hers, like it's for me, like the proportions are out of balance.
gotcha. Yeah.
So, but yes, I like making those with dad. We added those like almond not sugar cookies. I can't even remember what they're called, but they're shaped into like little crescents. Have you seen those?
Oh, yeah, those are
They're
good.
Yeah, those are a Christmas cookie that apparently his mom used to make, but he didn't have a recipe. And so I found one online and I was like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah, my mom usually always wanted to make, I don't know, do you remember the cream cheese ones that
Oh,
grandma used to always
yes.
make where you had to use the cookie press?
Oh,
But
yeah. We made them last year.
yeah, those are my mom's favorite. And
Oh, so good.
the first time I was in California, we were like trying to figure it out because I didn't have a cookie press. And I'm like, how the flip are we going to do this? So it was quite interesting.
Did you end up like going and getting a cookie press or did you just make them small enough?
No, we winged the shit out of it, and it was interesting.
You know what? If you didn't have the cookie press, you know what I would have done? But see, I don't know if you would have had this or not. Like I would have just gotten like a star tip and in a whatever it's called, a piping bag, and just
We,
piped them
I
into
think
like
we
a little
did.
circle.
I think we did try that. They were too thick.
You needed a
And
bigger tip, probably.
then what else did we tried a bunch of, it was a shit show. We got it done, but it was interesting. So yeah.
But all of our cookies ended up being interesting at one point or another.
They
Because like there are
have.
sometimes that batches come out better than others, you know?
There was the one year, who was it? It was one of the aunts, I think, that instead of rolling the peanut butter cookies in sugar, I think rolled them in salt. And we
Oh,
were
really?
like, we were
Like
like,
these taste weird.
these are really salty. What happened? Yeah.
Oh God. I don't remember that one. I must have been too young.
Yeah, I think you were too
Or just
young.
tried to put it out and you guys fixed it.
Luckily, I think like I ate one or my mom, somebody ate one and they were like, something is wrong with these. So like we saved like half the batch because it was like, oh, whoops.
Oh well, at least you saved half the batch then. Good job for that.
Yeah, luckily somebody, it might have even been one of the aunts because one of our aunts, it's like her favorite, had one like fresh out of the oven and was like, okay, something's wrong here.
Like we did these wrong. Oh, taste it. That is salt.
I can't read the difference between salt and sugar. Let's fix this.
For sure. Yeah, I think the other we haven't done this one as much, I don't think, or at least you and I haven't. I know all the aunts have done this one for a lot, but so we have family members that are Christmas babies, and they would go downtown. They would go see like the Kris Kringle market.
Yep.
We'd go to Macy's and we'd go eat at the Chestnut Room.
Walnut room.
Chestnut, Walnut. I was close. And like do shopping for their birthday.
Yeah.
So that was always nice. I got to do that maybe 2-3 times.
I think I'm about the same, like a handful of times, like 3 or 4 times, but it's fun. The Walnut Room in Chicago is beautiful.
Yeah.
And they have really good food. So yeah, we've done that.
And then now it's basically like grandma's too old for this.
Well, it's a lot of work to get downtown and your mom works and one of the aunts is gone and yeah, it's just
There's a lot of aunts that are gone, really.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, also, it's like it was a lot more coordination because, you have to get now grandma can't just walk on her own. You have to get a wheelchair. Somebody has to wheel her down there. Like, it's not just like, okay, everyone get on a train because that's simple. And also this year, I mean, with COVID, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And my mom,
she's not up
the train. So,
and she's just not up for doing that much stuff.
Like
a morning.
Yeah, she gets tired. Yeah.
Yep.
So shall we move on to gifting? I think that was where our main traditions, weren't they? I mean, obviously on Christmas we all eat together, but that's kind of a gimme.
I have one more Christmas tradition. Actually, my dad used to like really make us believe in Santa for like a long time. I probably believed in Santa longer than the average child because he would set up basically traps, like video traps for Santa, and he would make it look magical. Like all of a sudden, like there was like a magical noise or sound, and all of a sudden presents were there. He even had like he would go and do jingle bells on the side of his camera to like make us believe that Santa came. Stuff like that.
That's cute. Yeah, my dad one year put down like footprints and glitter and all that, or somebody did. My dad or my mom or somebody did, but it was cute.
Aw, cute. Like in your carpet or like outside?
No, in the carpet.
Oh my God, that must have been a pain to get out.
I did it one year too for Jackson. I don't remember. Did I use I don't remember what I used. If it was baby powder or something else, then you put like glitter down, and it really isn't that bad. You just get the vacuum out and vacuum it up when it's all said and done. But the kids are like, "Oh, Mom, look."
Yeah, and I would write like a letter every year, and they would sign it. And I was like, but it doesn't look like my mom or dad's hand signature. I'm like, yeah, because they manipulated their signature.
Yeah. Of course.
So yeah, he had me believing for a long time that Santa, probably longer than like I should have, I think.
Well, that's kind of cute though.
Yes.
There's already kids in the playground trying to tell my son that Santa doesn't exist, and he's like, "Mom," and I'm like, "You believe what you want to believe, buddy."
Good for you. Good answer. Does he still believe, or is he
Yeah, he does.
oh, good.
Well, also, it was actually really cute. The Marine Corps put Santa on a fire truck this year, and PMO, like the police car was in front of the fire truck, and Santa was on top of the fire truck, like waving at all the kids. And then 3 more fire trucks came through, and an ambulance, and a bunch of police cars, and he was throwing candy, so all the kids were thrilled.
Oh my God, that's great, because you can't do the traditional sit on Santa's lap.
Yeah, so
I saw this weekend that they had a Santa where there was plexiglass in front of him, and you could take a selfie with Santa and basically scream through the plexiglass to tell him what you want.
no, see the riding by Santa on the fire truck was much cooler because they had the fire truck
for sure.
They had it all decorated with like icicle lights, and they were playing music, and he was throwing candy. It was really cute.
I love it.
Yeah,
I want
the
that
kids
all
loved
the
it.
time.
Yeah, the kids loved it. I have a video of it. I'll have to send you the video.
Cute. Now we can move on to gifting. I always like gifting is very interesting to me.
Well, it was just funny because I went to buy wrapping paper yesterday because I knew I wasn't going to have enough, and I'm not going to be able to go out once Kyle gets here. And the lady at the register was being funny. She's like, I don't even buy this anymore. She's like, I just use, old newspapers, or I keep recycling the same bags every year. And I was like, yeah, that's actually a really good idea because it's $5 for this stupid roll of wrapping paper that's just going to get destroyed.
Yep. Yeah. We do. I do reuse a lot of like wrapping paper stuff, but I don't know. Never really thought about it. But actually, that does remind me of my grandma Wink, because she would put our stuff in garbage bags, like black garbage bags. My mom absolutely hated it. But I mean, we didn't know the difference.
No, kids don't care. That's like my mom was giving me a hard time. She's like, why didn't you put ribbon and bows and all the stuff on it? I'm like, you really think Jackson cares? Because he doesn't. He only cares about what's inside the paper.
I totally did bows this year for grandma's house. And my mom's like, well, why not me? And I was like, that is because yours are already done with bows and I don't have enough ribbon. Like I just learned how to do like the big bows with the ribbon, not like the bows that you get from the dollar store that you stick on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, well, I want to try out my new skill.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, for grandma's house, it's kind of one thing because some of the adults will appreciate it, but my kid does not give a crap.
Well, it's only for the adults and then obviously like the older cousins, but it's all couples gifts. So we're not all getting an individual gift. We're getting a gift for couples. So it's actually not that many gifts. I think there's only like 8 because it's per couple. I think if it was per individual, I'd be like, ha, you're funny. No.
Yeah. No, I literally just wrapped the present and that was it. I don't even have the dollar bows on there. That's just wrapped.
And it's fine.
Because he doesn't care.
You don't think it's less magical? No, I'm just kidding. You're right. He doesn't care.
If anything, it makes more sense because otherwise it just gets squished in Santa's bag and you might as well just put it in there with no bow.
You tell him. But that I'm sure there are also other people out there that like take like newspaper, and I'm sure that they're like super like thrifty with it, like and make it look really cute. I'm sure. Now I really want to like go on Pinterest, be like making.
I feel like there was somebody too in my family at some point that would carefully unwrap the gifts to reuse the paper, like would not.
Oh yeah, yes. And there were a couple in mine too. And now I'm like, okay, who was it?
Yeah, I know. I can't think of who it was either, but there was definitely somebody that was like, okay, don't rip it. I'm going to reuse it. And you're like, trying to do it all slow.
And then like the worst part is that's like, but you wrapped it so good and there's so many pieces of tape. It's basically impossible not to rip.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, but I feel like the gift giving was very interesting in our house, kind of, because I just remember having to give lists to each aunt They each had to have at minimum 3 items, and they all had to be different. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember like the list that we used to do where we did the like grab bag. Everybody wrote down their name, wrote down a list of 3 things, you put it in the thing, and then you picked the person. And then
Yes.
yeah, you had to pick which you picked whatever gift you wanted to give them out of the 3 that they
Well,
listed.
we never did the grab bag. I was never old enough for the grab bag because
Yeah,
basically once I became 18, they stopped doing it because no one was able to afford it, basically.
yeah, I think I was only in it a couple of years because yeah, it was the same thing.
Oh no, I was just talking about when we were younger than the age of 18, you would always get a gift from each of the aunts. And like I
Mhm.
remember specifically one would be like, now you have to write down at minimum like 4 things and I will get you one. But you can't just give me one thing that you want. Like then like it's not a surprise. And it's really funny because I was like, oh whatever, like as a kid. And now as an
Mhm.
adult, I'm like, yeah, you should give me more than 4 because that's what another person whom I have to get a gift for does is he picks out 3 or 4 things. Half of them are expensive, maybe 1 or 2 are reasonable. And so I'm basically stuck either paying a lot of money or getting something reasonable and no matter what, he knows what he's going to get. And I absolutely hate that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that too. Like it's nice to give people options, so you don't know unless like it's your best friend and you're like, okay, well, I want to make sure I get you what you want. My hard thing is now that I have a kid and people are always asking Jackson what he wants, like he tells everybody the same thing. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, so he just gave you 4 things, but he gave the same 4 things to grandma and great grandma and aunt, whatever. So like I need you guys to coordinate.
Yeah. Has that worked out coordinating or does he end up getting a lot of duplicates?
No, it's usually pretty good because there's not like too many people who ask. So it's usually just
Mm.
like Kyle's sister, great grandma, my parents, and then Kyle's dad usually just sends him whatever. So,
Yeah, well, the other thing is that like the other person I was talking about, it's like even if I went and shopped for him and I was like, this is a really nice shirt and pants, he would probably just be like,
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, there's
He
some
actually,
people that are hard to shop for no matter what you do.
well, and also like I would make him a personalized calendar with pictures of all of his kids on it. And he this year told me, no, don't do that anymore. I don't like it. Who needs a calendar anyway? And it's like, that's something that costs like a pretty penny because it's personalized. It's
Right.
not the cheapest thing. I only got 3 calendars this year and it still cost me $60 for 3 calendars.
Oh,
3.
yeah, that's not bad at all.
It's not that bad, but like come on, like if I would have gotten like an extra one, it would have been upwards of $100 for some calendars,
Mhm.
and it's only because I get them on sale.
Right.
But it's just like, oh, okay, you don't want this nice personalized item. Oh, okay, guess not. Now I have to go back to getting you something off your list, I suppose.
Or I won't get you anything.
That's what I should start doing. I did that during the year that we had the remodel. I'm like, look, I can't afford shit. You're not getting shit from me this year.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right being honest. And I think that's a good point to make because there's definitely been years for us too where I'm like, we just moved, we just had a baby. Like, I'm not buying for you. I'm sorry. Like, it's just not happening this year. I love you. I'll send you a Christmas card. I'll call you, but that's it.
Yep. You have to do what works for you, boo. Right?
Hmm. I just actually thought of another tradition while we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about gifts. Is grandma putting the lottery tickets on the plates at Christmas?
Oh, yeah. I love that. I like that she switched to scratchy cards because nobody would ever win when she for years did the lottery on every
No,
single plate. Like what? There would at least be every year 18 to 20 tickets, lottery tickets.
for
And no
20
one,
years.
yes, and no one ever won a cent. Then, like a few years ago, she just started doing scratch off tickets, and
Hmm.
almost like 3 or 4 people every year win, like at
Yeah.
least $5.
Yeah. So it's definitely been better. Yeah. The year that I was there, I won $50.
Yeah,
One
I
of
was
the
gonna say somebody did win 50.
Yeah, it was me. One of the uncles was like, "Let me see," and I'm like, "No, because you're gonna run off with it. I'm not 15 anymore and dumb and like gonna be like, sure, uncle."
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I think it's funny because then the following year he won 50. So
Of
like
course he did.
it's clearly more lucrative
So
than the
that's a
lottery tickets.
so that's a fun little gift that also could be like a white elephant gift because they're not super expensive and it's kind of fun because then you get to scratch it off and maybe you'll win, maybe
Maybe
you
you won't.
won't, but maybe you'll win $50, maybe, and even I mean $5 is $5, man.
Yeah, I think I've been winning like $5 the past like 3 years, and that's fine. I really don't care. I could win nothing and still be happy.
No, it's fun to do it though. You're like, okay, what do I
Yep.
scratch off? What's gonna happen?
Yep. Well, and you're all doing it and like comparing and stuff. Are you sure you didn't get it? That type of deal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just fun, and I like that idea because it's just like a fun little gift. It doesn't really cost that much, and people can win, and it's just kind of something fun and silly to do. So
Yeah, we're doing like a little Christmas game night this Saturday with just a couple of my friends. And I should have had us all do like a $5 white elephant. And that would be a really great idea.
I have to say, like, I haven't done it a whole lot because, like, obviously our family doesn't really do it. And one of my previous boyfriends, that was the big thing at their Christmas was white elephant, and it was always so much fun because everybody ended up laughing, and there's always that one gift that like nobody wants, so it just keeps getting passed around the table.
Yep.
It's just so fun. Like I kind of wish that we did it more. So I don't know, maybe it could be a new tradition eventually.
Well, and also considering the fact that like a white elephant should only be like $5, $10. Like it's not supposed to be anything like crazy expensive. And it's also the ones that I've played, they've all been like gender neutral. Like you can't just pick
Yeah.
out something for a woman. Like it has to be something anybody would
Yeah,
be
anybody would want.
thankful
Yeah.
to have. Um
We used to do white elephant at the office that I used to work at before we moved, and our boss was always like the person that never followed the rules. So the last year I was there, he bought like a virtual reality headset. So of course everybody's like, "I want
oh
that."
shit.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
because we were only supposed to spend like $10. So of course this virtual reality set, we're like, "You didn't get that for $10," and he's like, "Yeah, I did. Prove that I didn't." And we're like, "Okay, Doctor C, we're like we know you didn't, but."
You're like, yeah, obviously. Yeah, I'm trying to convince my mom to do a change like that white elephant. And I mean, we've taken a step towards it where we are doing like a couple's secret Santa, which I think is much better. I think it'll be better if we include like my mom and my stepdad, and I think if my other brother would have participated.
I'll participate. I'll just have to mail it.
Well, but that's what we're doing anyway. We have to mail it because two are already out of state,
See, I'll participate.
right? But yeah, we should start doing like a white elephant for anybody who goes to Grandma Shrink's because that would be fun.
It would be fun.
And especially because if everybody was complaining about doing the Secret Santa, and I think that was like a limit of 40 or $50, like a white elephant is $10. But it's so hard, just like the last episode we posted, it's really hard to get our family to change a tradition or
Yes.
add a new tradition. You have to get everybody to approve, and not everybody is going. And oh, good God.
I can already hear my mom now saying that she can't find anything good for $10. I'm like, yes, you can. Clearance rack, man. Clearance.
There's a whole section at Target that's called Five and Below. They got candles. They got little mini Christmas trees. They got scarves. They've got freaking mittens, like
Yeah.
stickers. They got all the fun kind of stuff. Hell yeah. I'd be there in a second.
And there's an entire store called Five and Below.
Yes.
So,
and
yeah.
there's a Dollar Tree, which they have really funny Christmas stuff. I think one year I got like a pack of Reese's, and this is honestly the only white elephant I can remember. It was a pack of Reese's and a a headband that had antlers and bells on it. And I had it for the longest time because I just thought it was goofy and I liked it.
Yeah, I did one with like I said, a previous boyfriend. And but I think our limit, it was a little higher. I think it was 20. But we didn't do any other gift exchange because there were so many of us. So 20 just was a nicer limit, like where you could get something like a little nicer, but it wasn't
Too
crazy.
extravagant. I mean, for the hell, for that like $20, $20 Starbucks gift card, done.
Yeah, and there was stuff like that. There were Starbucks gift cards. I actually got a really cute pair of earrings. Um, I mean, there was a lot of fun stuff in there. Like you talked about a set of hat and gloves, like all sorts of like there, I don't think there was anything that nobody didn't want. Like there was all like I was actually really impressed. That was like one of the white elephants that I was really impressed with. There was like nothing that didn't want. Like everybody was very thoughtful.
Oh, that's nice. My dad did like a very weird in like version of White Elephant where
Hmm.
it's like you pick a number and there's like 22 guests, right? So you had to pick a number 1 through 22. Then like whatever gift you get, you can like take it or like pass it on except for the first person, and then
Hmm.
everybody like has to like basically like you either take that gift or you pass it on to the next person, and then it like moves down like the line. It was very weird and complicated. I didn't particularly understand it. He did it one year. I think it was way too expensive because
Yeah.
he bought all 22 gifts.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's
So it's
hard.
not it's not like each person is bringing a gift for
Yeah.
like a white elephant and you're just doing it by numbers and going down the line. So,
Yeah, exactly. I think the one at the office was kind of like that. The one I was talking about, like the virtual reality glasses, you could either like pick one that somebody had already opened or pick like a new one from the pile. So like stuff
mhm.
kept getting passed around like a million
Yes.
times.
Yeah, it was exactly like that except for like with the added numbers. I don't know
Gotcha.
because you had to trade, like you had to be specific, like no, I don't want this one, I want number 1 through 22. Like you
Oh,
couldn't just
okay.
like switch with a random person because you could also pick a present that's never been opened again if you didn't want the one that you got.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
So,
it can get complicated. It cannot be, it all just depends.
but yeah, I do like the white elephants. Maybe next year when we're actually allowed to have like parties, I'll do like a little white elephant one because that would be fun.
Yeah, and I'm in for whatever Secret Santa trade-off business you got going on.
Well, that was just between me and like the brothers, and like that was it. But maybe we'll expand it to
I'm
be the
cool
whole
if you want to
family,
include me, especially since one of the brothers didn't participate. I can take his place
right? Next year, we'll see how it all goes. I
next
don't
year.
know. I'm still trying to figure out how to send mine because they wanted to charge $50 for me to send some stuff. I was like, no. So I'm doing USPS priority in 2 different packages, and that's still cheaper than one package. And I think that's absolutely crazy.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Isn't
Well,
it?
from what I was reading, and I could be wrong, USPS, I'm pretty sure it's USPS, is going broke. So they're kind of struggling right now.
Yeah. Well, that's who at first wanted to charge me $50 for the same package. And if I packaged it myself versus if I got 2 of their own boxes.
Of
I
course,
was, I was like,
it's always something
okay.
weird.
Well, and I should have just shipped it from the store to that person that I have. But I was like, no, I want to wrap it because
Yeah.
that would be cool. Like, I think it should be already wrapped when they get there. Well, now
Yeah.
one thing will be wrapped and the other thing won't be wrapped, and it's fine. I'll just
Yeah.
deal.
Well, that's like I obviously send to my niece, but shipping anything from here is outrageous. So I just told her, I'm like, hey, I bought her some stuff off Amazon. And I didn't get the Amazon bags because like if you buy more than one thing, you have to buy an Amazon bag for each thing. And I'm like, I'm not
Item.
paying $5 per bag. So like I told her, I'm like, it's coming from Amazon because it cost me too much to ship stuff to you. And she's 2. Yeah, she's 2. So I mean,
Aw.
she doesn't care anyway. So I was like, okay, I sent you gifts, but they're not wrapped. So sorry.
So sorry, wrap them yourself
Yeah.
and put my name on it.
Because the last box that I sent to my girlfriend, because my best friend she caught the Rona. So I sent her like a get well. She had also recently gotten a new job, like Merry Christmas box. And it
Aw.
almost took it 3 weeks to get there. Where then like
Wow.
a week ago, I sent another box to a friend and it took it 3 days. So it's like, I don't know what the post office is doing, but cool.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, see, like that's the other thing. I was like, you guys don't have anything else. Like, I don't need this priority shipped. It doesn't need to be there in 2 days. It like as long as it's there by Christmas, which is a couple weeks away,
Right.
I really don't care. So you're really gonna charge me like that much? Holy shit! It's all I got. And these are some of our Christmas traditions. Let us know some of your Christmas traditions. We love to hear from you.
Oh,
I
and
love
also,
hearing about all the Christmas traditions.
and also, real quick before we forget, there will be no episode on Christmas Day.
Yes, because it's Christmas Day.
And we know y'all aren't listening to us, you're listening to your families, and we need a break anyway. So,
as you should be listening to your families. There's no Christmas episode. Let us know about your Christmas traditions or any funny stories you have. And, this is how to deal when shit gets real. Reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook and have a good day, night, evening, morning, whatever.
and
and listen to us.
and Mili Kaliki Manka from Hawaii.